Welcome to our daily hovers. I'm Meeka Nomicon, and today we're going to be playing for the game May I Take Your Order, where we work as a waiter, and we have to serve some people with rather some weird tastes. Alright, I've been filling out a few applications today, and this is the last one. I've been applying to work at restaurants all over. It might not seem glamorous, but I want to see how different places are run. If I want to open my own restaurant someday, it's crucial to see what does and doesn't work. A friend told me I should save my top pick for last, and I should really kick him for that. My hand's about to fall off. It's pretty ritzy establishment, but comfortable. Fancy, but not overpriced. Important clientele, and still kind and inclusive. If you can't make connections here, you're dead. Financially speaking. And the food, remarkable. I've never heard of anyone ever having a bad meal there. I gotta know how they accomplish so much. So I try not to be too nervous and fill this out like it's any other application. My first name is Meeka. There we go. No, well, okay. My first name is Meeks now. I'm too lazy to click backspace. There we go, Meeks. I fill in my address and try not to despair over my handwriting before getting to the personal section. Wait, maybe I should be a doctor instead or go work in that field. I am female. And I finish filling out that form. I cap the pen and lean back in my chair. Man, it's nice to be done. Well, except for heading outside and turning them all in, one at a time. I better get to it. 2 weeks later, and I'm waist deep in my first Saturday shift at the restaurant. Busy doesn't even begin to describe it. After 7 hours of the weekend rush, I'm ready to go home. I stop off at the table 6 and go through the motions. Thank you for dining with us, sir. My name is Meeks, and I'll be your server for this evening. He smiles at me. Pleasure to meet you, Miss Meeks. Have you dined with us before, sir? Yes, indeed. I'm quite happy to be back. Just you this evening, sir? No, my girlfriend will be here shortly. I'll just have a cup of coffee while I wait for her. I'll go get that for you right away then. No rush. Countless families and couples have come and gone today, but for the past hour, that one guy's been clogging up table 6. Are you doing all right, sir? He checks his watch again. Yes, I mistook the time. She'll be here any second. He's been saying that for the past 45 minutes. I'd tell him to pack it up and leave, but he doesn't have the look I'd expect of someone in his position. There's anxiety, but only a little bit, and there's no disappointment. Not a shred of doubt in his eyes. He really thinks. Excuse me. He looks up at me. It seems he's come to some sort of decision. Thank goodness. But this is a restaurant with crayons, correct? Yes, sir. We have those for kids. Excellent. A string of frosty enters his eyes, one that doesn't quite pair naturally with crayons. One, please, and red if you've got it. Yeah, sure. I'm not about to argue with the customer, so I head to the front. It's not exactly usual, but the guy has been sitting here for half an hour with no phone. I'm caught between pity and irritation, and hope for the umpteenth time that he has some empathy to tip well on the single cup of coffee he's been nursing. There's a small tin with several crayons. We try to keep fresh ones ready. I grab... Wait, I can be needlessly petty and grab a blue crayon for this guy? You know what, he just got stood up. I'm gonna be nice. You can have a red crayon, friend. I snatch up a red crayon. No sense being mean to him. He may be weird, but he's probably having a bad night too. I bring the crayon back over to him and hand it over. Thank you, Miss Meeks. It's no big deal. Hey, are you okay? I saw you don't have a cell phone, but we could call your girlfriend and... No warning, no nothing. He knocks everything off the table and climbs right on. What? Sir! Please get down! His deft hand scrawls a wide circle, then another, then sections off the area, slicing as though the crayon were a knife. He fills it with symbols. They look almost like zodiac signs. Homo sum humani nili alienum puto? We're gonna ignore the fact I just butchered that. It's like I stood up too fast. There's a rushing to my head. There's a pressure. Like my ears are going to pop. Oh my poor eardrums. Oh, everything is shattering. Ah! The tablecloth rips and there's a spray of sweet-smelling fluid. I leap away from the table as something bursts out. I would say that's insanely cool, but I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. I see spikes though, so we're just gonna say you look very cool, please don't kill me. Wet spiked appendages are flailing all over, slapping and snaking their way over to the windows and doors. They're fleshy, but soft. Too soft, and they mush and disfigure as they slam against everything in sight. One smacks the hat of another diner, who continues to eat her meal, unfazed. Nobody is screaming, and nobody notices me, on the ground, arms raised to protect my face and throat, too tight to scream again. But that's okay. The thing is screaming enough for the entire restaurant. It's letting out a dual-toned screech, high and low, but I can't discern one throat, let alone two. Crayon thrown to the floor. The stood-up guy in the worst diner ever starts to call out at it. Sweetie! For goodness sake, put your body on! We're in a nice restaurant. It screeches and roars back at him. I know, but... He waves a bundle of cloth at it. I brought you some clothing! And it's super comfy. It slurps up the bundle of fabric, and the creature bubbles and draws back in on itself, twisting until... Are you dating a Cthulhu monster, mister? You in fact are. I emerge. You're here. You had me worried, so I figured I'd help you break the barrier down a bit. Teleporia, you have no idea how good it is to see you. When he says that word, my ears finally pop and my teeth grit. It's a bad word. It's not a curse word per se, not so much a word you wouldn't say in front of your boss. It feels like the wrong answer in a classroom or meeting. That moment when everyone turns and looks at you, and you just want to sink through the floor. I just want to sink through the floor. I want to be very quietly, go get my coat and change my name and move to whatever town is on the exact opposite point of the globe from where I'm currently standing. You informed me that the barrier was to be frail in this portion of the world. I will hold you responsible for the trouble. He's beaming at the thing that came out of the hole, but I can't look at it. It hurts to roll my eyeballs towards it, like I'm dehydrated. When I close my eyes, the dark behind my eyelids is so cool and so soft. There are tears running down my cheeks. I hadn't noticed. The guy, Hendrik, beams and gestures towards the gaggle of eyes and puffy wall. This is my girlfriend, Teleporia. Impudent microbe. I may choose to craft for myself the form of a creator, a birthing one, but I am capable of far greater creations than your prepubescent females. And far more erroneously, your inflated ego thinks I would deign to refer to you as any form of companion. Her words wash over him like a gentle breeze. It looks like she could rip his face off, but her roars just make his eyes brim with joy. We've been dating for about 400 years now, and though the long distance thing is a bit of annoyance, we make it work. The moment I finally devise an effective method of accomplishing your demise, I will rip your soul from your ever-regenerating body and chew it to gruel. So you guys have a healthy relationship then? He sits down at the all but destroyed table and picks up his menu. But until that beautiful day when I can be with you forever, you're going to need to eat something else. Teleporia stomps. She looks at me, and I bounce between eyes, trying to make contact with one that doesn't stare down into my deepest inadequacies. There is a human fool here. I nod. Her mouth breaks open into a smile. Excellent! You are spared from punishment, Hendrik, if only for a moment. She sits down, but not on a chair. Dozens of her tentacles are still present throughout the entire room, spikes driven deep into the surfaces, blocking all of the exits. She settles into one of the squishy appendages, looking pleased. So, then, maybe we should order an appetizer? It's not that I can't believe that this is happening. I have an open mind, but as far as sudden supernatural shifts to my life, I was really hoping for Wizard's School, or just plain old haunting. Some ghosts are pretty cool, right? At least with a zombie or something, I'd know the rules here. What are the rules with this thing? Do I throw rice on the ground to stall her? Wait, isn't it usually salt? Salt should work, right? It still dehydrates the tentacles, maybe. Will she attack me if I touch her with iron? I'd listen to my gut, but I can't make out anything but general foreboding. Demon... You summon demons, so that fits. But I don't know. Something doesn't seem quite right about that. Maybe she's a... excuse me? Oh! I can barely think, but I can at least fall back on one set of rules. I struggle to stutter out the rote reply. Would you like to start off with a soup or salad tonight? The man grins and gives an eager nod. Could I please get the blue cheese salad? And for my sweetie? The Teleporia rolls her eyes and her teeth flash as she cuts in. Hendrik, I've been on enough of these sham dates to know that ordering for your companion is rude. His face falls. But it's been ages since you've eaten any food. You're chewing on the fork right now. She gives him a glare and slowly places the slightly bent cutlery back down on the table. Fine. But before he can say another word, she makes her move. I don't want your advice, though. I want the young human to choose for me. Oh, no. He sighs, annoyed, but he checks himself before looking at me. I think he knows that she's putting me on the spot. I can appreciate that he's trying to look out for me. I mean, I'd appreciate more if he could have not summoned some kind of Eldritch thing during an already busy Saturday shift. Or at all. I ease my throat open enough to squeak out. Wait, okay, so we've got tomato bisque, Caesar salad, and a lamb chili. Which one do we want to give her? Well, she looks like a Cthulhu god, right? I don't think we're going to recommend a salad because she might hate it and then eat me. Same with tomato. Wait, what is bisque? Is bisque some kind of seafood thing? I know you can get lobster bisque. So maybe bisque itself isn't seafood. Either way, we're gonna go with lamb chili. Here, eat a lamb and don't eat me. Oh no, she doesn't seem too happy with this. This doesn't seem to mean much of anything to her. Great. And what would you like for your entree? She slams down a fist on the table. My stomach lurches. First, bring me the matter. This physical form requires fuel to sustain itself. I turn on my heel and fly out of there, an excuse to leave. If there were any kind of extra-dimensional beings looking down on me right now, I would like to take this opportunity to thank them. I rush to the kitchen. Back in the kitchen, everyone's still bustling about. Other servers are calling in their orders. The ambitious cooks are working. The slightly less ambitious cooks are cracking jokes with each other. They're as oblivious as the customers out front. I can see my manager discussing some menu changes with the head chef. Hey, does anyone else see what's going on out there? But nobody turns to look at me. Hey, I'm serious. What the hell is going on? Are they ignoring me? Do you expect me to just come back here and bring in this order like nothing's wrong? I take a sarcastic tone. Yeah, we got a blue cheese and a chili for table 6. Just another usual night, right? Without warning, a tray with the order is put down on the counter next to me. But other than that, there's no hint of a glance, no guilty looks. Hey! Nobody even flinches. Fine. Looks like I'm on my own. Am I in some kind of pocket dimension? Have you clipped me out of my reality? Is that why no one can hear me anymore? And did I tell you how lovely your eyes are this evening? From your ever-effusive sewer pipe of compliments springs something worthwhile. I made most of them myself, but the eye in the center of my head was a reference object. I couldn't even tell the difference. Your anatomy has gotten so much better since the last decade. It is easier when I have a fresh supply to study material. So I suppose I can remain here long enough to consume some matter. Let no sentient being claim that I do not repay my debts. Well, that's just one of the perks of the job. Teachers can bring home knowledge. Cooks can bring home food. And surgeons can bring spare body parts back to their girlfriends. Well, one of those things is not like the other. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to walk home with food, I can say with relative certainty that that isn't how it works. If I ever find out this man's last name, I am never going to his hospital. I serve Talaporia her chili, trying not to get too close. Please be careful, it's very hot. Remember, sweetie, that too much heat can injure... Silence, meat garden! I know what to do with volatile heat sources. That's one thing to do with it. She flings the scalding liquid across the table, and it hits Hendrik square in the chest. Ah! She rushes out of the bathroom, face red from pain. We don't serve our soups at a heat that could do permanent damage, but that still has to hurt. She closes most of her eyes and inhales a deep breath, satisfied. When she speaks again, her rough voice has a tranquil tone. Clean it up, human. This is an establishment with standards, is it not? Well, it was, I mutter. The elegant charm might be a bit altered by the sudden presence of giant tentacles. Wow, I'm looking to get murdered. I love it. She snuggles down into her seat. This is a gift for your owners. This is a sliver of my true form. Well, it's lovely. Sorry that you didn't like the chili. Apology unnecessary, human. I enjoyed that immensely. She sniffs the air. And it smells nice as well. She dabs a little of the meat of her neck. This body has concentrated blood flow around the throat and wrists. These pulse points heat and disperse spray molecules of matter, allowing humans to perceive them with their noses. She seems quite pleased with this luxury. She wraps the scarf around herself. Now that I think about it, the clothing Hendrik bought for her is all very heavy. A maxi skirt, a thick sweater, and a blanket scarf. The way you're clutching that scarf, are you cold? You may not have my scarf. It retains my heat. I will continue to generate and retain heat, and it will belong to me, not you. I think she's a bit chilly. I take a step back. No, that's all your heat, fair and square? She growls. Happily? Yes, all mine. Hendrik will be procuring more matters this evening, which will continue to power this form. Physical exertion is a luxury, a caloric energy necessary to move, but a digit. She lifts her own claws. Is precious. I have gone for thousands of years lying in wait for foolish summoners to tear open rifts and let in the good heat from your world. Teleporia leans down on the table. The edges of the scarf trail into her chili. Or at least, what's left of it. Is it selfish to be happy that she's disarmed now? I look at the still present tentacles and recalculate that statement. She at least cannot harm me with soup. And that's something. So, human, how do you enjoy generating your own heat? It's good. I've ever turn it on the heater. So it's not great really. Have you ever gotten sweaty? I like it. Physical activity is fun. You know what? Why don't we're gonna mock her a little bit. We're gonna mock her. It's not great. Have you ever gotten sweaty? I fan my collar a little. I could really use a cold drink right now. She gives a quizzical look. Are you implying that at times you generate too much heat? I nod. In the summer, when the sun gets close to the earth, everything gets hot and gross. Humans can get so warm they die. Her eyes open wide, both of them. All of them? Do you catch fire and burn? No, it's not like getting burned, it's just too much heat for the whole system, I think. And you cannot simply uncover yourselves and release the heat into the vacuum of space? I shake my head. No, ma'am, the vacuum of space is too far away, and in the summer we're surrounded by too much heat. Your creator failed to take the seasons into account. Tell it to mind that on the next draft. I assure her that I will, and out of the corner of my eye I see Hendrik returning. And Hendrik returns. Getting along well? As well as might be expected. Still, thank you for keeping her company. We'll eat our appetizers and... She shakes her head. I'm finished with mine. He laughs. Of course, how could I forget? So then, would you like to move on to the main course now? The next part of the meal? Ah, yes, the larger portions. Hendrik points to her menu. So, what were you thinking about? I always like steak, but I admit that I was kind of thinking about splurging on the... Hey, human Meeks! I snap to attention. Yes, ma'am? Choose. Do it promptly and wisely, or else I will need to consume something else for my main course. She's staring at me right in the eyes, and her gaze lingers on my mouth. She stares at my teeth and licks her lips. Could she eat my teeth? Well, I think you would enjoy... Okay, we've got porterhouse steak, we've got Can I live lobster? I recommend the squid egg pasta. Okay, just so... She's tentacles, right? So how aquatic would she relate to? Would either of these two be too offensive that she's gonna actually kill me? know what? No, we're going steak. Steak is the best. Steak rules all. Apart from chicken. Chicken beats steak. Fight me. Steak! She certainly recognizes that word. And I wouldn't normally recommend doing this, but there's a bone, a piece of cow skeleton in the steak. Maybe you might also be able to eat that? Apparently, yes. And I'll have the lobster, please. He looks a little embarrassed. It isn't nice for celebrating, you know? Hey, I don't mind. Back up that bill. He chuckles and I head off to the kitchen. I don't think he's even going to be paying this bill. Let's face it. The cooks prepare the dishes as usual and hand them off to me. Just like the last time, never making eye contact or reacting to anything I say. Both of these meals require special cutlery. I've gotten a lobster fork and cracker for Hendrik, and a steak knife for Teleporia. The serrated edges gleam with a murky light. Is it really a good idea to hand a weapon like this over to her? I'm on my own here, and nobody will help me if she attacks me. Or maybe, since nobody else will help me, I have to deal with the situation myself. She hasn't made a move to harm me yet, but she did do a number on the dining room. It may only be a matter of time. As I look over at table 6, it's time to make a choice. What should I do with the knife? Okay, I'm going to try and kill Teleporia. That just sounds like instant death. Do you not realize she's an Eldritch god? I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to give it to Teleporia as though she were any other customer. You know what? Why don't we just be naive? We're going to be naive. We're going to be a fool. We're going to give her the knife. Oh, she's got claws. If she wanted to stab with me, I don't think she needs the knife. Fighting them seems like a pretty bad call. And there's no sense in making things really awkward, right? The night's been going surprisingly well. And yeah, I'm going to count not dead yet as surprisingly well. I serve the dishes as usual, placing the lobster cracker and fork by Hendrik, and the steak knife next to Teleporia's place. She glances at it, but not for more than a second. The only thing she's intent on is attacking in her dinner. Bloody juice flies from the steak, dripping everywhere, pooling in her lap, sprinkling onto her seat, flinging onto the tablecloth, speckling the crayon lines, which starts to buzz slowly. Should I call this to their attention? You know what? I'm gonna let this play out. We're gonna say nothing. I say nothing and finish serving their food. As I do, I can see the wood warping like putty until something starts to push against it from beneath. Oh no, is something else getting summoned? Oh, I've made a bad mistake in life. A tentacle shoots out. It looks much like Teleporia's, but smaller and spikeless. What? The barrier! It's still weak. Can I not have one night to myself? She flips the steak knife in her hand, holding it blade down, and begins to slash at the tentacle. Stop! Acting up for attention! It squeals, pathetic and defeated, knife buried in it down to the hilt, before sinking back into the rift. Was that Teleporia's child? Teleporia, you are an awful parent. Hendrik snatches the crayon up off the floor and scrawls out the circle. The familiar, if broken, surface of the table is once again visible. I really wish you weren't so harsh with them. And I wish you'd stop trying to be their father. Well, I suppose it isn't easy being mother to an entire ecosystem. Now knifeless, she picks up her steak and rips a chunk off with her teeth. Let that be a lesson to all. I won't be forgetting that anytime soon. So, before I go, is everything to your liking? Is the food, powering your true form enough? Silly Meeks. When in my true form, I do not consume human fool. This human template, what did you call it? Hendrix caught mid-bite, and he covers his mouth to respond. Human soma! My human sona. It consumes calories, inhales oxygen, excretes feces, all the same as you yourself, I assume. I never expected to have a restaurant patron ask if I breathe and poop, but here we are. But my true form requires something much more deeply sustaining. She stares me down. She looks at my teeth again. She looks me in the eye. She holds that eye contact and waits. I try not to squirm, but my moxie is inadequate for this situation. She waits and then laughs. I can breathe again. Delicious! A light dusting of fear. Nothing too overwhelming. If that doesn't strike her as much fear, please let me never, ever learn what does. So, you eat fear then? It falls under my purview. Suffering. Sweetie's true form eats concepts. And she builds her human sonas to have quite the taste for them too. Any form of important emotion can sustain her, but she's picky. I am not. Suffering is the only thing worth eating. Eating anything else would be beneath me. It's okay, whatever you eat. I love you just the way you are. And I would like you much better with several more stab wounds to the head. Anytime, sweetie. That poor guy. He is not okay. Though I managed to sneak away for the next 15 minutes, I know that I'll eventually have to return. I tried to strike up a conversation with the line cooks again. So, how do you guys feel about the recent tentacle invasion? Of course, nobody responds. Yeah, it's hard to really put it to words, isn't it? No response. Dishes click. I guess the spoopy atmosphere has a certain charm, but I don't think it'll catch on with the baby boomers. Conventional wisdom says that they like elegance or rustic charm, and Midwestern mums are not into dripping fluids. I mean, as a general group. I don't want to assume individual tastes. This gets boring quickly, so after the appropriate waiting period, I head back over. So, thank you for dining with us tonight. I did it. I made it through the evening. I'm tempted to not even give them a check, to just rush them right out the door. But I refuse to slip up now. It's been a delight getting to know the both of you. How kind of you. You know, I was planning on heading out, but you know what? I couldn't care less if I attempted, and I am very powerful. I am capable of caring far less than most humans could in their most apathetic dreams. Let's do dessert! We had to be nice to them, didn't we? Why did you do this, Meeks? Why are you like this? Oh, okay. I look from his smiling face to Teleporia's cruel one. I know how this goes. Let's make a recommendation. Okay, so we've got a chocolate dort for the delightful couple. Let's not say that. That's going to get us a spike to the neck. Do you feel like drinking? I sure do. After dinner brandy. Caution to the wind. Banana foster flat. No, we need the drink. We need to be drunk. I think that's the only solution to this entire game. And since nobody seems to notice what I do this evening, I'll just grab a glass for myself. And pull up a chair. And she can eat up all the discomfort she wants. I like this human. I'm keeping her. Sweetie, no. But I'm already off, grabbing the bottle and a trio of glasses. I slam them down on the table and fill them up. I'll bet that you haven't had a good drink in... Well, how long have you been stuck in that cold place? She grabs a glass. Void. God. What's it like in there? She knocks back the brandy like it's whiskey. Probably goes without saying that she doesn't drink much. Dark, cold, mostly barren. Locked up for something approaching an eternity with nothing but your own thoughts. Unless one can become creative. I do my best to make creatures to fill it, but it is a vast expanse. Literally endlessly big, but with nothing in it. Yeah, I caught part of your conversation before. You made your body, right? Indeed, when rifts become open, I am able to seize not only heat, but stray matter. I model the majority of my creations after your carbon-based life forms. But modifications must be made. I'll bet. If the void doesn't have heat or any matter, you need to make creatures that don't eat or breathe, right? Good human. I model most of them after myself. And you eat concepts. Yes. After billions and billions of years, I have evolved over 1 million species of void creatures. Nearly all of them feed, as I do, on the concept of suffering. So it's an endless barren place with no light, no heat, where the only things that exist just go around preying on each other, suffering all the time. Yes! Is it not marvelous? And someday, human Meeks, there will be a rift large enough that is not tiny scraps and stray humans will fall through, but your entire plane of existence. Well, that doesn't sound good for us. You will enjoy it. Wouldn't I hate it? I reach for the bottle, but it's nearly empty. She's been putting it away fast. I mean, I don't enjoy suffering. You'd be surprised what humans can get used to. He finally takes a sip of his brandy. I used the wrong English word. A closest translation might be resignation. You would become resigned to an existence saturated with pain. Enjoy isn't the correct term, unless you're a disgusting cluster of miswired brain signals. Love you too, sweetie. Why am I getting Junko vibes from her? Everyone must be pain, everyone must feel despair. I know what you're doing, Hendrik. You think if you can keep delaying me with fancy dinners, stolen body parts, gentle words, and rough sex. Could we not talk about the sex life in public, thank you? She places a hand on his arm. That you can stop me. You are, as always, disgusting, but an appealing opponent. And with that, she slumps over the table, snoring loudly. Did I just get an Eldritch god drunk? I am remarkably proud of myself. Right now, I can tell. That is a smile on her face. He turns her to the side, brushes her hair out of her face, and wraps her up in her scarf. I'm sorry, Miss Meeks. This must have been an awfully difficult table for you tonight. I didn't think they'd give us someone so new. Yeah, the manager didn't warn me that we had special clientele. I was not even close to briefed for this. Well, you handled it marvelously. If you'd like to bring us the check, I think it's time to get her home. I nod and clean up the bottle and glasses. So, are you going to lock her up or something? He chuckles. No, this is just a sliver of an entity deep in the void. She can always make another body. But when she recalls the memories and experiences from this one, I want to make sure she knows. She can always switch diets. I ponder that while I get his check. She's been around longer than our species, longer than our planet. So no matter how old Hendrix is, it's nowhere close. But when I bring the check back... Mr. Hendrick? I'm rooting for you. Keep on doing the hero thing. He laughs all the way through signing the check, loudly. My dear Miss Meeks, I assure you, I'm not being noble. It's very, very selfish. He looks at Teleporia. She grinds her teeth a little, probably dreaming of biting someone. He scoops her up, making it look easy. She must have been lied to than she looks. And for a moment, I think he's going to kiss her on the cheek. But he doesn't give her anything more than a loving gaze. He carries her out of the restaurant, and the second they step outside the door, everything goes back to normal. I start bussing the table. The tentacles may be gone, but the tablecloth is still a mess. I get it now. That closed space must be part of the restaurant to keep people safe from the more bizarre guests. Now that they're gone, it'll be up to Hendrik to keep everyone safe. I bust the table and sneak a peek at the check. Dang! An 80% tip on a check with steak and a full bottle of brandy. Makes the idea of staying here pretty tempting. I'm honestly considering it. But first, I'm going to need to have a long talk with my manager. Normally, that sort of confrontation would be intimidating. But I'm bolstered by the memory of Teleporia's grin. And I grin too. I can handle it. I got ending 5, the sweets and dreams. Is that the good ending then? The one where no one dies and I get an 80% tip. Okay, we're gonna go look for the other endings. Okay, so how about we just do everything different? So this time we're gonna ask for the blue crayon. Out of sheer spite, I grab a blue crayon. Look, I have to be here until all the customers leave, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. I bring the crayon back over to him and hand it over. Thank you, Miss Meeka. Look, I'd really appreciate it if you could order something. I'm usually very good with customers, but this is seriously trying my patience. Look, I know you're probably having a rough night, but we're closing soon. No warning, no nothing. He knocks everything off the table and climbs right on. What the? Hey! What do you think you're doing? His deft hand scrawls wide circles. Okay, so he's drawing the reseal. Does it not matter that it's not blue, red then? Okay, so we're just gonna pick every answer to the subject. So giving him a blue crayon didn't really change anything. Okay, how about a Caesar salad? This doesn't seem to mean much of anything to her, but hey, who can go wrong with the basics? One look at Hendrix and I can tell. Me. I can go wrong with the basics. He heaves a sigh. What would you like for your entree? Okay, now it's back to being what it was. I serve Teleporia her salad, trying not to get too close. I'll be back in a moment. I need to wash my hands after that summoning. Before I'll ever feel clean again, I'll need a hot shower, a Brillo pad, and therapy. Teleporia purses her lips and pokes at the letters with a fork. Foliage? Oh no. Look at her teeth. That cruel glare. Of course she's a meat eater. What was I thinking? I need to rescue this quickly. Our Caesar salad also comes with anchovies, which you will see there. I gestured toward one of the small fish in her salad. She spears one on the elongated claw and peers closely at it with her cluster of eyes. If you were to diagram your local food chain, where might one find this small creature? I guess it isn't a plant or plankton, but still relatively toward the bottom. She snorts, a meager offering of an establishment claiming to vend luxury. She picks the fish out and chomps them down, before shoving the rest of the bowl away, disgusted. She wraps the scarf around herself. Now that I think about it. Okay, so this is all the same again. Teleporia leans down on the table. The edges of the scarf trail into her untouched salad. So human. How do you enjoy generating your own heat? Okay, so well, we'll do this one. It's good. I'd rather like just turn on the heater though. When it gets cold, I can't bring myself to do much of anything, so I'll just turn on the thermostat. She slams a hand down. No! This is unacceptable! Lazy human! In the void, there is no heat. There are no suns of which to leech, like some creature that lives of blood of another. I don't think she knows that the verb correlates to an actual animal. You need to be more grateful. And Hendrik returns. Getting along well? As well as might be expected. Still, thank you for keeping her company. We'll eat our appetizers and... She shakes her head. I'm finished with mine. He laughs. Of course, how could I forget? So then, would you like to move on to the main course now? Okay, so main course. Yeah? Choose. Do it promptly and wisely, or else I will need to consume something else for my main course. She's staring at me right in the eyes, and her gaze lingers on my mouth. Okay, this is her staring at my teeth again. So, we gave her the porterhouse steak because she liked it, so this time we're going to give her squid ink pasta. You enjoy that. The chef's special today is a fresh spaghetti with squid ink and Cajun shrimp. She sighs. Squids! I have a special place in my heart for cephalopods. Oh, so you've added that fifth valve? It's nurturing cuttlefish eggs at the moment. Aww. I look to him for his order. I'll keep to the seafood theme. 1 lobster, no butter, please. Coming right up. I serve Teleporia her pasta, and Hendrik his lobster. Spaghetti might not seem like a fancy food, but these noodles are pitch black. I mean, I think they're cool. She seems pretty neutral about them, which isn't the worst outcome I can imagine. So, before I go, is everything to your liking? Is the food, having your... Okay, this has all been done before. Okay, so we had the drinking one last time. You know what? Caution to the wind, bananas, Foster's flambe. Is my professionalism slipping? Must be. What are we impregnating? Sweetie, is a figure of speech? I don't have that function this time around. Sweetie, I think she's just tired. On the contrary, I think I'm just finding my second wind now. I scramble about the kitchen, grabbing everything I need. Am I cleared to do this? Hell no. 2 weeks is not long enough to have permission to set things on fire next to the diners. But tonight's special, isn't it? I wheel the cart over. Feeling a mite chatty, I take my time preparing to light it on fire. So, congrats on getting out of, what do you call it? The cold place? The void. Okay, so, wait. We've done this bit. Look out! And I light it up. The flame shines in her eyes, and I can feel the heat coming off it. I should probably be keeping a close eye on it to make sure that it's cooking properly. But looking over at Hendrik and Teleporia, they're holding hands, so simply and happily. She's gripping his hand tightly from joy. And then she jerks him across the table, straight into the flaming cart. He immediately rolls away from the cart, like he has practiced with this sort of thing. Maybe I should have seen this coming. He executes a perfect stop, drop and roll, and soon the flames are out. Yeesh, though he is far from unscathed. Human, this was a fantastic dinner. Bring us the statement so that we might repay you for your noble worship and gifts. I salute and wheel what remains of the upturned cart away. It's not long before I return with the bill in hand. He takes the check. He seems to do a bit of calculation in his head, and then lays down some cash. Well, this evening was a complete waste of time and effort. Organ ravioli. Hendrik looks up at her. You may have one short, friendly embrace. He jumps to his feet, arms wide open to hug her, and one of her tentacles slams into him, throwing his body across the room. It slams into the wall and ragdolls to the ground. Hug transaction complete. Oh no, did you just kill him? She heaves a sigh. Would I were so lucky? No, human, I have merely rendered him unconscious. That's good. By a severe cranial hemorrhaging. That's bad. He will sleep it off. I've ripped his limbs before. He can take it. She looks almost fond. She gets up, walks over to him, and grabs him by the foot. I suppose it's time to return him to his residence. She perks up. Or I can abandon his body in the trash unit. Perhaps nobody will find him, and he will be placed inside a trash compactor. As she turns to drag him away, I ask, Miss Teleporia? She turns quizzical. Human, I am departing. You've made it through this evening unscathed. You have little to no ability to comprehend how fortunate that makes you. But I suggest that you make an attempt. I clear my throat. I think I'm trapped. I gesture around the restaurant. Oh, yes. I had forgotten. Your world usually has even more light, does it not? She shrugs. Well, I had no hand in this. And with that, she waves aside the tentacle and marches through the front door. Hendrik's head thuds against the ground as she walks down the staircase and out of sight. When I hear the front door close, another server bumps me in the shoulder, stepping past. They give me a dirty look and keep heading their way. Just like that, I'm back. I get moving, clearing the table, scooping up the check. I check the tip. 40%? It might not cover emotional distress, but I'll cap off the shift well. This was quite the experience. But for my own safety, I think I'm going to skip the 2 weeks notice. I came here to learn something new, and I'd say that goal was more than accomplished. I got the ending where I ran for my life. Ending 4, a hug goodbye. Okay, wait, so I'm wondering, if we don't give her the fire dessert, will we get a different ending? Okay, so what if this time we recommend a chocolate torte for the delightful couple? Must remain professional. Everyone loves chocolate. Go with the safe option. Don't screw around when you're so close to the end of this. So close. Bring it on, Miss Meeks. The torts here do better after a few hours setting up in the cooler, so they aren't made to order. I grab a couple and some spoons in return. Teleporia doesn't seem to be a fan, but at least she doesn't make a scene. Hendrik asks for the check and I rush off to get it ready in record time. And finally, he fills out the check. So, sweetie? Mediocre food, boring company, not enough of my preferred sustenance. Sounds like a pretty bad yout with you, but it's not the end of the world. I'm burning the whole place down. Okay, now that's not great. Sweetie, no! She launches a tentacle at him, throwing him across the room and pinning him to the wall. And with others, she breaks the light fixture, dunks her napkin in table's olive oil, and stuffs her napkin into the broken circuit. Not again. Why am I not surprised that this has happened before? She lumbers out of the restaurant as it burns. I don't remember much else from that evening. Coughing, someone carrying me out of there, lots of panic. Perhaps it just took the building burning down around them to get everyone to notice. The restaurant shut down, and I didn't get any forwarding numbers. I can kiss that reference goodbye on my next round of applications. As I check the pockets of my ruined uniform, I find some paper. Oh, it's the check and the tip. 20%. Nice. I mean, it doesn't make up for losing my job, but I appreciate that he's understood that I tried. Okay, so we've got the 20%, we've got the 40%, and we've got the 80%. So clearly we need either the no percent, if there is one, the 60%, or maybe 100%. I know there's 5 endings. I can't imagine us doing anything worse than this. So there must be a 60 and 100%, right? How could I have got it more perfect? I thought the first time I did this game it was pretty damn close. Okay, we're going back and we're gonna go see if we can find anything. Ending 2. Unsatisfactory service. When the world burns. Okay, so I'm thinking if we go porterhouse steak, and then this time we try and stab her and see what happens. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and kill Teleporia. I slide the knife into the back of the tray and approach them. Now I can appreciate finely crafted facsimos. So you'll come with me then? They're pretty distracted with their conversation, so they barely even notice me. Ugh, I make no promises. Why should I come watch humans pretend to injure one another when I could just as easily go out and cause harm to actually befall them? I place Hendrik's plate in front of him, and his cutlery. But they're so creative. You couldn't actually get away with half the tortures in horror films, especially not the ones nowadays. And most humans don't contain half as much blood as they show on the screen. I put Teleporia's steak down in front of her. This is true. I did enjoy the film where the woman put the men in the bags. And I gripped the knife. There were a bunch of places to stab her, but the big eye on her chest looks like the vulnerable, easy to hit target. Of course, that kind of sheer torment transcends language. You've been stabbed! I succeeded, and everyone is shocked. I did it. I did it! I jump back, but her eyes immediately glaze over and shut. Sweetie? He rushes to hold her. Just hold on. No! I was going to grab the knife again to defend myself, but he's right there. I need something to cut through the tentacles and get out of here. I thought this was a respectable establishment. Oh no. It's like a switch has just been flipped. He pulls the knife out of Teleporia. Do you know how long it takes her to put together a body? He sidesteps around the table, and he's right in front of me. How long we have to wait for the veil to thin? Do you know how hard it is getting an immoral goddess of the void to look upon humanity with anything above contempt? How hard it is to keep her eternal hunger at bay? And worst of all, she might never go on another date with me after this. The last thing on my mind before all goes black is agonizing pain. But the penultimate thought is that maybe he might be even scarier than the thing he summoned. Well, I mean, how did I really think that was going to end? I stabbed a god. I'm pretty sure I should have expected to get killed for it. Ending 3, a bad idea. So there was a no-tip ending. It's just the no-tip ending was also my death. Okay, so the only other thing I can think to try is if we put the answer she likes to the heat question with all the answers I did in the first round, because then hopefully it will get us like tippity top of all her favourite questions and answers. And hopefully we'll get the top, what I'm presuming will be 100% tip. Let us try. Okay, so I think the one she's going to like the most is to say, I like it, physical activity is fun. Because she was saying we were lazy before, right? I too enjoy hunting. Actual consumption of matter at times comes to second the thrill of pursuing a terrified creature. Well, I was more thinking of exercise, to keep in shape. She stops. Do you waste your fuel on extra heat? No, it isn't a waste, it's fun. Oh, this might have been a bad idea. I don't think this is going to get us a good ending. She hisses through her jagged teeth. The human enjoys this, does she? Yes, it's nice to be able to move, isn't it? She taps her knife against the glass. Well, I suppose. Phew! And Hendrik returns. Getting along well? Okay, so She really likes the steak, right? So we should definitely keep going with that thing. Okay, what if we warn her about the summoning circle? Would that endear us to her? Excuse me, your summoning circle? They look up at me. I point at the table where the wood is already beginning to shimmer and warp. Oh, sweetie, you're opening the rift back up. He scrounges on the floor for a moment before sitting back up with the crayon. We watch as he crosses out the line here and smudges a line there until the table looks, if not normal, then at least serene. I know this is a good time to retreat back to the kitchen, but I can't help but ask. So, did you just close the circle back up? It looks like the lines were already smudged before this. How precise do they need to be? He chuckles and picks up one of the lobster claws. This wasn't a circle for summoning or making a connection between realms. He places the claw alongside the lobster cracker. This circle just eroded the barrier in an already weak location. Usually this place owner keeps the doorway nice and clear. Oh well, mistakes happen, right? Just let her know to have a look at it, okay? Absolutely. She and I are going to have a long talk. Haha, it was no trouble. He starts to squeeze the cracker. If you know how anything works, it's easy to destroy it. The shell snaps open, and he starts to dig the meat out. Teleporia peers at his hands, watching closely as he dismantles the creature. Would you like some? Pah! And waste time preparing my own meal? My beefsteak is delicious, peon. Suit yourself, but you're missing out. On what? Steak is filled with calories for fuel and proteins, which are building blocks of DNA. Name one thing that makes your meal superior dish. I start to take a step back. They're eating. I can leave them in peace. Time to get back out there before... Human Meeks! Great. Yes, ma'am? Remain here and bear witness to my would-be mate's crushing defeat. Yes, ma'am. There are few things I want less than to stay in the same area as these two, especially if they're going to fight. Sweetie, you know I would never argue with you. I respect your opinions at all times, even when they're wrong. Mate, you've just signed your temporary death warrant. It was nice knowing you. Oh, no. I am a deity. You cannot comprehend the depths of my knowledge. If I should make a statement, then it is surely so. Oh, yeah, she's so deeply infallible that, her first time out in public in the 1800s, she ran screaming from an accordion player, having literally never seen, in an untold millennium of existence, anything like it. I guess she was lucky that they weren't bagpipes, huh? Oh, you just made her mad. You kinda deserve that. Ah! She lunges across the table, steak knife flying. Well, at least she wasn't aiming the knife at me. Before he could even move, she stabs 3 times, knife driving down to the hilt with each thrust. Hendrik coughs, blood dripping down his chest. He didn't move a finger to defend himself. One of those stabs must have gotten him in an organ, and it's not like he can't feel it. His face is skewed up from the intensity of the attack. I suppose that was uncalled for, wasn't it, sweetie? I'm sorry. I missed what you said because it sounded like you were spinning lies to the human. Never, darling. At a complete loss, I pull an extra napkin from my apron and hand it over to Hendrik. So, human, have I won the argument? I'm gonna say yes. Please don't stab me. Pretty definitely. Ha! Now knifeless, she picks up her steak and rips a chunk off with her teeth. Let that be a lesson to you all. He won't be forgetting that anytime soon. So before I go, is everything to your liking? Is the food powering your true form? Okay, we've done this one. Okay, which one? Maybe the brandy. Would the brandy give me the good ending, maybe? Possibly the flambe? Maybe the flambe. Maybe we'll get a better tip just because... I'm not sure which one's going to be the good ending. Oh no. Because this one, he gets burnt. That one, she gets unconscious. Okay, we're having the bananas pastas flambe. Is my professionalism slipping? Must be. What are we impregnating? Sweetie, it's a figure of speech. I don't have that function this time around. Sweetie, I think she's just tired. We've had a lovely time and I think... Oh, no. I think I've got the two of you figured out by this point. And I think if I want this to be a truly satisfying night for our esteemed void goddess, then she's going to enjoy this dessert. Or at least how we cook it. What is this blathering about? But I can tell I've got her hooked. We cook it tableside with a huge flame. And there it is. I'm not sure about this. Looks like he's picked up on the pattern too. Oh, I insist. I don't even need to write this one down. One flaming dessert for table 6. It'll be a shame to waste something so tasty. But it's the best way to make what she really wants to eat. Hendrik, you're always begging me to share a dessert with you. I scramble about the kitchen, grabbing everything I need. Am I clear to do this? Hell no. 2 weeks is not long enough to have permission to set things on fire with the next of the diners. But tonight's special, isn't it? I wheel the cart over, feeling a mite chatty. I take my time preparing to light it on fire. So, congrats on getting out of the cold place. Okay, so I think we've done this part. And I light it up. The flame shines in her eyes, and I can feel the heat coming off it. I should probably be keeping a close eye on it to make sure it's cooking properly. But looking over at Hendrik and Teleporia, they're holding hands, so simply and happily. She's gripping his hand tightly from joy. And then she jerks him across the table and straight into the flaming cart. Now that burn, that's one that could cause permanent damage. At this point, I expected it. I can sense a pattern. You don't give fire to a creature that loves suffering without expecting someone to get second-degree burns. And he's trying to stifle a laugh, but it's pretty obvious. He loves it. I think he's just trying to keep up appearances. He executes a perfect stop, drop and roll, and soon the flames are out. Eesh, though he is far from unscathed. Human, this was a fantastic dinner. Bring us the statement, so that we might repay you for your noble worship and gifts. I salute, and wheel what remains of the upturned cart away. It's not long before I return with the bill in hand. So, sweetie. Abysmal choices. Meat soups. Flaming fruits. Bring additional fire so I might raise this entire city. I thought I did good. Did I not do good? She laughs. I jest, human. Oh, thank God. Why would I wish to rob myself of the future enjoyment of dining here? You nearly gave me a heart attack. Should your organs cease, kindly deposit yourself in the nearest rift. I would be pleased to craft your matter into a new species. Hey, let me finish using it first. I've got plans. Treat it well. I will be most displeased should my waiting be for naught. Hendrik pushes his very, very bloody napkin on the table. Looking at him, battered, burnt, and bloodstained, there's the vague sense that I should be doing something. Getting a first aid kit or calling an ambulance. But that right there is just normal. That's what normal is for them. That's what their flirting looks like. And you? She returns to face him. Surely the world will not thank you for continued services of stalling me. But, as you persist, and as your form does not look entirely disagreeable this evening, I find it acceptable to engage in the human ritual of mouth-touching. He springs to his feet, even though it looks like he should be stumbling over. Sweetie! needs more. You're consuming his lip. You've lost your lip, my friend. Goodbye. She moves in for the kiss, and of course it's odd. But I don't know, it feels right seeing them together. And who would have guessed that she was capable of being gentle? She is literally biting his lip off. I don't want to say that's gentle. And the fact that she's touching his burnside. Well, I suppose she's feeding on the suffering. Maybe that's just the way love is. There he goes. I knew it. I knew it. He's lost his teeth. He's lost his lip. He seems to have lost his entire jaw, to be honest. And there goes half his face. Oh, you really are Harvey Dent now. She's got the skin in her hands and looks at it like it took a muscle or two with it. She gives it an affectionate nuzzle. I will be waiting by your vehicle. Do not keep me long. It's hard to tell with his lower jaw missing, but there's enough cheek muscles left to see a grin. Do you want a bandage or? He shakes his head and gets to his feet. He pulls out his wallet. He looks up at me, and through the blood, he's still beaming. Thank you. I nod back. I hope that wasn't one of his nice attires. How much clothing do regenerative masochists go through? Best date in over 100 years. I think she might have reopened his stab wounds too. When I look up, he stumbled towards the door. Is he okay to drive? Whether Teleporia can or can't operate a car, I assume the outcome would be similarly disastrous. As he leaves, everything goes back to normal. I start bussing the table. The tentacles may be gone, but the tablecloth is still a mess. I get it now. That closed space must be part of the restaurant, to keep people safe from their more bizarre guests. Now that they're gone, it'll be up to Hendrik to keep everyone safe. Good luck with that. I gather up the check and start walking back to the kitchen. And somehow, after a night of monsters and gore, this is the biggest surprise of the evening. He's left me 100% tip on a dinner with steak and everything. I don't want to say that there's a price at which I'll bear this kind of treatment. I mean, what would that say about me as a person? I have pride. Still, I came here for experiencing good connections, and I sure experienced something tonight. My heart's still racing. The second that rift opened, I wanted to be anywhere but here. But now, I can't imagine working anywhere else. What do I need to research the other restaurants for? This place is magic. The minute my shift is over, I need to have words with my manager. I don't mind that she didn't warn me. I never would have believed her. But I need to make absolutely certain. I want to have that Saturday shift permanently. I want to meet all the strange creatures out there and hear all of their stories. This is a career. Ending 1. Kissing on the 293rd date. Yes! I have got the final ending! And all it took was me mutilating her date. I did good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that playthrough of May I Take Your Order. Got to say, I don't know which one is my favourite ending. I mean, the last one was brutal and beautiful. But then again, you gave us a fire ending, and fire is always amazing. As always, if you want to check out the game, I'll leave the link in the description below. If you've enjoyed your time here, then please remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Other than that, hope you have a spooky day, and I'll catch you next time, guys.